Seniors and sleep, why it's harder to rest after 65, and what to do about it. It happens so quietly, doesn't it? One day, you realize the nights aren't as restful as they used to be. You find yourself waking up at hours you never used. Two, staring into the darkness, listening to the clock tick, feeling the weight of the night settle over you. Sleep, once something you barely gave a second thought to, has become elusive. A visitor that teases but rarely stays long enough. You might brush it off at first, telling yourself it's just part of growing older. You hear it from friends, neighbors, even your doctor sometimes. It's normal at your age. But deep down, you know it's not just about age. It's about how tired you feel the next day, how much longer it takes to get moving, how the fog doesn't quite lift from your mind, how your body feels heavier than it should, and somewhere along the way you start accepting it. You tell yourself that maybe this is how life works after 65. You stop expecting a good night's sleep. You lower the bar. But tonight, and every night that follows, deserves better. You deserve better. Sleep isn't a luxury, and it certainly isn't something you're supposed to surrender as the years add up. Sleep is a lifeline. It's the quiet work of repair, of restoration, of giving your heart and mind the chance to breathe. And while the path to peaceful rest may have become a little overgrown, it isn't lost. It's still there, waiting for you to walk it again. What makes it harder now isn't just biology, though that plays a role. It's life itself. The habits we've built, the worries we carry, the medications we've been prescribed, the changes in our bodies we didn't choose. It's a tangle of things, some visible, many invisible. But the good news is this. Once you understand the reasons, you can begin to untangle them. Tonight doesn't have to be like last night, and tomorrow doesn't have to begin with that same heavy sigh. There are real, gentle ways to invite sleep back into your life. Not through force, not through frustration, but through understanding, kindness, and small but powerful changes. This isn't just about getting more hours with your eyes closed. It's about reclaiming your days. Because when sleep returns, so does energy, clarity, and a quiet kind of joy that only comes from truly resting. And no matter your age, that joy is something you can still have and deeply deserve. It's funny how the changes creep in so gradually that we barely notice them. You might think back to younger years when you could fall asleep on a couch with the TV blaring or take a nap in the afternoon and still sleep through the night. Sleep was something that just happened. It wasn't a puzzle to solve. It was a given. But somewhere past 60, sleep starts to shift, and not in ways you can simply brush aside. The truth is, aging changes the architecture of our sleep. Deep sleep, the kind that leaves you feeling truly refreshed, becomes harder to reach. Instead of diving into those deep, restorative stages, your body skims the surface, staying longer in lighter phases where you wake more easily. The deep, slow-wave sleep that once made you feel invincible becomes a rarer guest. It's not just about lighter sleep either. The entire rhythm of your sleep, your internal clock known as the circadian rhythm, starts to move. You may find yourself getting sleepy earlier in the evening and waking earlier in the morning, or worse, waking up multiple times a night for no obvious reason. What used to be a solid stretch of rest is now broken into fragments. Part of this has to do with changes in the brain's production of melatonin, that gentle hormone that signals the body it's time to rest. As we age, melatonin levels naturally decline. It's like the body's whisper to sleep becomes quieter and less convincing. And let's not forget about the realities of life at this stage. The aches and pains that weren't there before. The trips to the bathroom that interrupt the night. The worries that seem to grow heavier after dark when the house is quiet and the mind has space to wander. Yet for all these changes, there's a bigger, more subtle shift. The way society frames aging itself. The myths we're fed, that poor sleep is inevitable, that fatigue is normal, that there's nothing to be done, sink into our minds. We stop questioning it. We stop hoping for better. But those myths are not the truth. Sleep changes, yes, it becomes more delicate, more complicated. But it is not lost. Your body still knows how to sleep. It just needs a little more help than it used to, a little more care, a little more patience. Sleep isn't something you grow out of. It's something your body still longs for, even if the path to it has changed. And once you understand those changes, once you recognize that it's not weakness, not failure, just a different season of life, you can begin to reclaim it, gently, steadily, night by night. It's tempting to think that poor sleep is just an unavoidable part of growing older, but the truth is more complex and more hopeful. Because behind the sleepless nights and early morning awakenings are causes that often have more to do with what's happening around and inside us than with age alone. Let's talk about the body first. As we get older, our bodies start sending signals differently. Pain from arthritis or old injuries can become a constant companion. Even minor discomforts, ones that wouldn't have fazed us before, can now nudge us awake and keep us restless. Chronic conditions like heart disease, diabetes, and even mild breathing issues quietly interrupt the deep cycles of sleep, fragmenting the night into restless patches. And then there's the bladder. Not the most glamorous topic, but an important one. Over time, bladder capacity decreases and the chances of waking up to use the bathroom increase. 1 or 2 trips a night can throw off the natural rhythm of sleep more than we realize. But it isn't only the body. The mind plays its part too. Loneliness, the quiet companion of many seniors, creeps into the night and keeps the brain spinning. Anxiety, whether about health, family, finances, or even the passing of time itself, becomes a kind of static that's hard to turn off. Even if the day is busy and distraction-filled, night brings stillness, and stillness brings thoughts, sometimes heavy ones. And let's not overlook the role of medications. As the list of daily pills grows longer, so too can the list of side effects. Many common medications, for blood pressure, depression, or pain, can interfere with sleep without us even realizing it. They change the body's natural rhythms, dull the sleep drive, or cause restlessness. Finally, lifestyle. The small habits we carry without question. A cup of coffee late in the afternoon because it feels comforting. Falling asleep in front of the TV every evening. A glass of wine with dinner that seems harmless but disturbs the second half of the night's sleep. Or simply less movement, the tendency to sit more and walk less, reducing the body's natural need for rest. These small choices, seemingly innocent on their own, compound over time. They reshape the body's relationship with sleep. They confuse the internal signals that used to make rest feel so easy, so natural. But here's the hope hidden in all this. Because these triggers exist, they can be changed. Sleep isn't some faraway treasure lost to age. It's a reflection of how we live and care for ourselves now. Adjusting the body, calming the mind, untangling those daily habits, all of it points to the simple, powerful truth that sleep can be restored. It's not about overhauling your life overnight. It's about small, mindful shifts, changes that honor where you are, who you are, and what your body needs today, not what it needed 20 years ago. Sleep after 65 requires a new kind of care, a quieter, wiser kind of care. And that's something within reach, starting right now. It's easy to downplay a bad night's sleep. You wake up groggy, maybe a little irritable, but you push through. One night turns into a few, then a week, and before you know it, restless sleep becomes part of the background noise of life. Something you endure, not something you fix. But poor sleep doesn't stay in the background. Over time, it seeps into every corner of your health and your life. It's not just about feeling tired. It's about how your body and mind begin to change when they're constantly running on empty. First, there's the mind. Sleep is the brain's time to sweep away the mental clutter that builds up during the day. When that process is interrupted, memory suffers. Names are harder to recall, details slip away, concentration falters. It's easy to blame these things on aging. We're told to expect forgetfulness. But often it's the result of poor, fragmented sleep chipping away at cognitive sharpness. Sleep also acts as a kind of emotional housekeeping. It's when the brain processes feelings, sorts through the day's events, and clears emotional debris. Without enough rest, anxiety deepens. depression can tighten its grip. Resilience, the ability to bounce back from stress, thins out, leaving you feeling worn down by even small challenges. And then there's the body. Sleep is when repair happens. It's when your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops, and your body works quietly to heal. Without enough sleep, inflammation rises. The risk of chronic diseases like diabetes, heart disease, and even stroke climbs. Immune function weakens, making it harder to fight off illnesses. Weight management becomes more difficult too. Lack of sleep messes with hunger hormones, making you crave foods that aren't kind to your body. Energy dips, making it harder to stay active, creating a loop that's hard to break. But perhaps the most sobering cost of poor sleep is the way it speeds up aging itself. Studies have shown that chronic sleep deprivation can actually accelerate the aging of cells, shortening the protective caps on the ends of chromosomes, a biological signpost of aging. It's a quiet process, invisible day to day, but over time it robs you of vitality. Beyond all the science and data, there's the personal side, the side you feel every morning when you wake up unrested, the heaviness in your bones, the irritation at small things that didn't used to bother you, the way joy feels dulled, as if viewed through a fogged window. And yet, even in the middle of this struggle, there's good news. Because poor sleep isn't a life sentence. It's a condition, and conditions can be changed. They can be softened, healed, reversed. You don't have to accept restless nights as the price of getting older. You don't have to live in a haze of fatigue. The cost of poor sleep is real, but so is the possibility of reclaiming it. You can restore not just your nights, but your days, the clarity, the energy, the sense of well-being that deep rest brings. It begins with a simple, powerful idea. Your body still remembers how to sleep well. It's waiting for you to clear the way to create the conditions it needs to do what it was made to do. And the beauty is, it doesn't take sweeping changes. Often it starts with the smallest steps, taken steadily and kindly. Think of the best night's sleep you ever had. Maybe it was years ago, maybe recently. What made it different? Chances are, it wasn't just exhaustion that knocked you out. It was a feeling of safety, comfort, and peace. That's the heart of good sleep. Not just physical relaxation, but an emotional letting go. The good news is you can build that feeling again. You can create a sanctuary, not just a bedroom, but a state of being that invites sleep rather than chases it away. It starts with your environment. Look around the room where you sleep. Is it cluttered, filled with reminders of tasks undone? Is there light slipping in through the curtains or the hum of electronics nearby? The brain notices these things, even when you think you're ignoring them. Darkness, coolness, and quiet. These are the signals the body has always responded to. Blackout curtains can make a bigger difference than you think. Turning down the thermostat just a few degrees at night mimics the body's natural temperature drop that happens during deep sleep. And if complete silence isn't possible, a gentle, white noise machine or even a fan can create a soothing background that drowns out disruptions. But a sanctuary isn't built on the environment alone. It's built on routine. The signals you send your body in the hour or two before bed. Routines aren't just for children. They're for every brain that needs to know. It's time to rest now. Start small. Dim the lights an hour before you plan to sleep. Put away screens, yes, even the phone, and let your mind settle into softer activities. Reading, gentle music, maybe even a few minutes of journaling to unload the day's worries onto paper instead of carrying them to bed. Movement plays a part too. Gentle stretching, a slow walk after dinner, or light yoga can prime your body for rest. It's not about burning energy. It's about releasing the tension that hides in muscles, setting the stage for deeper relaxation. Nutrition matters more than most realize. Heavy meals late at night make your body work overtime when it should be winding down. Caffeine, even if you think you're immune, can stay in your system for hours. And alcohol, despite its reputation for making you drowsy, disrupts the sleep cycle and often leads to waking up in the middle of the night. But perhaps the most overlooked element is mindset. So often we go to bed frustrated before we even lie down. We anticipate another bad night, bracing ourselves for disappointment. That expectation alone can sabotage sleep. What if instead, you approached bedtime with kindness? What if you treated sleep not as a battle to win, but a gift to receive? Remind yourself that your body wants to sleep. It knows how. Your job is simply to clear the way and trust the process. Building your sleep sanctuary isn't about creating the perfect conditions. It's about creating better ones. It's about making 100 small choices that say to your mind and body, you are safe, you are cared for, it's okay to rest now. And in those choices, night after night, something shifts. Sleep becomes easier, mornings become lighter, days become brighter. It's not a magic switch, it's a quiet, beautiful return to the rest you deserve, not as a reward, but as a right. Sleep may seem like a small thing, just the simple act of closing your eyes and drifting off. But in truth, it is one of the deepest forms of self-care we have. It's where healing happens, where memories settle, where the body repairs and the spirit restores itself. Somewhere along the way, many of us began to believe that broken sleep was just another price we pay for growing older. We were told to accept it, to shrug our shoulders and move on. But here's the quiet truth: they don't say often enough, you don't have to settle for restless nights and tired days. You don't have to wave goodbye to the deep, nourishing rest your body still craves. Yes, sleep changes after 65. The path becomes less direct, more winding. But it's still there, waiting. Waiting for you to listen to your body again, to make small, loving changes, to create a space where rest can find you once more. You've weathered so much in life already. Joys and heartbreaks, victories and losses. Sleep should not be another battle. It should be a homecoming, a soft landing at the end of the day, a gift you give yourself, night after night. Start small, one gentle habit at a time, one quieter evening, one mindful routine. With each step, you're not just reclaiming sleep, you're reclaiming energy, clarity, and the vibrant joy of living fully awake. Because the truth is, it's never too late to rest well. It's never too late to wake up refreshed, feeling lighter, stronger, and more at peace. You deserve that kind of rest. Not because of what you've done, not because of what you've endured, but simply because you are here, still becoming, still living, still worthy. Tonight can be different. Tonight can be the first step back to yourself. Close your eyes, breathe deep, and trust that sleep, real, healing sleep, is waiting for you. Not as a distant dream, but as a promise. You are not too old to sleep well. You are not too late to begin again. And the journey back to rest, real, beautiful rest, and starts exactly where you are.